begin tucking him into bed, and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." Look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed." As he queefed.
What did you just say?
Nothing.
What the fuck kind of story was that, bro?
I don't
What
know.
the hell even was
But
that?
this is apparently the number one horror story that is one paragraph long.
Did you just say as he queefed?
Yes.
I bequeath.
That's just another muffled freaking ghost story. That's what they call it. Muffled ghost stories.
I'm sorry. Take that. You said as he,
What the
H-E, queefed.
Yes.
Am
Is
I
that
the
what it
only one
says?
seeing the...
Is that what it says?
Yes.
Let me see.
You want to see another one? Okay. Don't be scared of the monsters. Just look for them. Look to your left. Look to your right. Under your bed. Behind your dresser. In your closet. But never look up. She hates being seen. Especially when it's by her. Like, what?
Those are so stupid. They,
Yeah,
they
literally,
do not,
like,
hell
come
even
on,
is
dude.
that?
They're like supposed to be, I guess, like joke horror stories, but they're
You're
like
talking about, like-
two-liners.
Dude, creepypastas are better than that.
Yeah, well, creepypastas can go for days.
Yeah, that's like a full-fledged story, though.
Yeah.
which reminds me, the first thing I want to bring up is actually,
Wait, hold on.
What?
Welcome back, guys.
oh yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back to the 2 a.m. podcast. We have missed
Hi.
you. It is episode
Welcome
99,
back.
nearing to the 100.
Let's fucking.
We have a
go.
100 episode special, right?
We do actually.
Yeah. And now we may move on to what you were gonna say.
But anyways, I think, is it just me or is the Scream the most awful and disappointing horror movie character in the history of film?
Oh, the Scream.
This motherfucker walks around with a big kitchen knife, wears a goofy ass mask, and he rolls around with like this black dress.
Hey, I have something for you.
Exactly. Like, are you
Done.
not strapped?
I don't know. But
Like, how does he get the jump on you?
well, he learned from
'Cause
from the
he's-
institution of Santa Claus.
What?
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. The 2 golden rules right there, dude.
You've come out with two of the most fried things I've ever heard
Dude,
on
it's
this podcast.
SCU.
I
Welcome
mean-
to SC University's Santa
S-
Claus, baby.
Santa.
SCU.
Santa Claus on her back. That's what. No.
What
Be-
I don't
because we
know.
were,
I don't-
dude.
I'm on a roll of like this.
Good lord.
Remember when we
needless crap.
were watching the trailer at your house and it was
Yeah.
like, this is the most fucking retarded like
Yeah.
movie plot I've ever seen.
It was like Scream 7. It was like, come on, dude. Like, relax. They're learning from the other family, from the Fast family. You know.
it's like nobody's caught this douchebag in a black dress.
Can we not come up with better horror villains? Let's just start there.
That's
like,
what I'm thinking.
Like, how
yeah.
many Friday the 13th do we need?
How apparently
many-
every year.
How many Texas Chainsaw Massacres were there?
How
There
many
was only
Fast
2,
and
right?
Furious
There was
movies do we
3.
need?
There was 3.
Mhm.
How many what was the one with Jason Voorhees or
Oh, Jason. Yeah. Jason X, basically.
but no, but what was the name of the franchise?
Um,
Because there's Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah, and then there's.
Oh no, that is Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Yeah.
Friday.
I'm sorry, I was getting him backwards. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. They've had way too many horror movies. Can we come up with some better shit? Like Leprechaun,
Yeah.
which had like 3 or 4 movies.
Or like a killer unicorn.
Even the Gremlins. I like the concept of the Gremlins because it was unique.
Really?
Yeah, I actually did.
You liked Gremlin? That's cute.
The
It
Gremlins?
was pretty funny.
Really?
Although I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay,
so-
Okay,
well,
fair enough,
we did
fair
say
enough.
horror, to be fair. You said it was pretty funny, so.
Well, I mean,
I mean, aren't they
Scream
all
is a funny movie.
Actually, yeah, Scream is hilarious, dude. When they all die, dude, I'm crying, bro.
When everybody's dead, that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
That's when I laugh the hardest.
No one's
Psychopath.
surviving that. You dated the wrong person this year. Yeah, that's the plot, dude. Like,
How many? I think they're about to do the 5th Purge movie.
yeah, the
It's like, what's it called? Purge Forever.
the Forever Purge.
The Forever Purge.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep, and it came out actually.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it's in theaters right now,
What's the concept of that?
It's the Purge,
but backwards.
but forever.
But-
Instead of it being 365 days out of the year. Sorry,
Yeah.
instead of it being 1 day out of 365.
It's all
Yeah,
year.
It's 365.
The CIA accidentally pressed enter on 24 years instead of 24 hours.
They're just like,
Like, oh
and
god,
the country's fucked.
we can't terminate it. Oh no.
So fried.
Yeah, that's majority of life, man. It's fried, and that's why we have the 2 a.m. thoughts here at the 2 a.m. podcast, dude. I just want to linger. Have you ever just done that after just like the longest week of your life?
Dad noises?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the
All the time.
I'm the champion
You're
of
the
dad
champion.
noises.
Get out of the car.
Another thing I noticed is when I sit down, I tend to do this a lot.
Yeah.
Like actually grab on too.
Yeah, dad noises.
What is going on?
Those are
I should not be doing that.
paternal noises, father noises.
Those are sounds of the patriarchy at play.
Sounds of the
Yeah.
patriarchy.
These are the sounds of the patriarchy.
Yeah, dad just
Yeah.
watching TV.
Yeah. I know, and it's just.
You're like,
Jesus
what the-
Christ,
What
dude.
was that?
What
dude?
was that?
Yeah, what's going on? Why? Why do? Okay, what are other father things? Like what's going on? What makes them fathers? You know, I know we have sounds right now. We have like random interruptions.
they have to have a bizarre fascination with at least one thing. And like, you know,
One thing mechanical
it doesn't have to be
or
mechanical.
athletic.
Yeah.
Like for example, some dads are like really into their pet. Like it
Oh,
might be birds,
yeah.
it might be like their cat or a dog or something like that. But if it's a dog, they have to hate the dog before the dog gets there. They're like, this dog's gonna fuck everybody up. Like you're never gonna walk
Yeah.
it, you're never gonna feed it. And then all of a sudden, the dad's best friend is the dog, right?
Yeah.
And now the dad's whole world is just hanging out with that dog. Or it's like you got that. Before it used to be like cars, mechanical, like back in the day.
Mhm.
Like dad just had a weird knowledge of either how to build a house. Like your son, I don't know, he's an idiot and he plugged a fork into the outlet, just shorted the entire house. And
Your
it's like,
son's
all
not
right,
gonna
I can do
make
this
it, bro.
entire wiring job myself. Like
Or if you're an American father, you have an obsession with alcohol.
that's not
More
true.
often than not.
That's not no,
Come
I
on.
wouldn't yeah. More than other countries. I would
More than
argue.
other countries,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's for sure.
What else is there?
The freaking. I'm sorry.
Well, we
dude.
obviously said dad noises. What about the dad tax? Because I feel like that's one of the biggest ones that goes unmentioned.
Oh, the dad tax.
Do you know what the dad tax is?
No.
Explain. Maybe I do. I
That's
probably
when,
do.
That's when you're like eating something.
Yeah.
You know, you brought it home from a restaurant. Like, let's say you got like fries or like mozzarella sticks or some shit. And they come over and they're like, oh, what you got going on over here? And you're like, oh, I got some burgers
Yeah.
and some fries. And they're like, oh, look, how are those tasting? They'll just
Yeah.
like take your
Yeah.
fries.
Dad, I'm trying to gain weight.
God.
That's the dad tax. Every time they
mad.
take food from you because they're your dad and
Yeah.
they can.
That's true. That's so true, dude.
That's the dad tax.
I'm like dying because I can picture 15,000 moments where that has happened. And like the thing is, I am conscious enough, and I'm like, I am not gonna make the decision to offer him food. I'm just gonna see what he does.
Like fellow
And every time it's 100% success rate. He gets food.
like fellow Californians out there will 100% relate to that if they bring In-N-Out home.
Oh,
The dad will come around like just like all of a sudden you walk in the
What you
door
got
and he
there?
peeks his head around like, oh hey.
yeah. What's going
He
on?
What's
just
going on
gets a
over
whiff
here?
of it.
And for some reason, they're already chewing something. Can't get
It's
enough.
like, you eating something? No. What are you chewing on? "Ah, fucking-"
In and out.
In and out now.
Just wanted more.
That's for sure.
I just got in and
Yeah. It just has to tax you. That's it.
That's just how it is.
That's how it
man.
rolls. In the
All right,
house.
what are the mom things?
The mom things? I feel like they're more, they care about your well-being more.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So like for example, if I was gonna go skydiving, my mom would like probably pull me back inside and be like, "Don't go. This could go so wrong." And then you pull up statistics, and then your mom doesn't give a shit about that. You know,
I would actually
it's just
say
very protective, I guess.
for me it's kind of the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, it's more of like my dad's like he's like, you can't go skydiving for X, Y, and Z reasons. I'm like, okay, that's fine. My mom's like, we should go skydiving.
Your mom's the cool one.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
That's-
even though if she were to actually say that, we still probably want to go, which is a
Yeah.
bummer. But you know how it is. I
Yeah.
would say another thing about like being a mom in some cases is having like a weird giddy excitement for something that almost nobody else would have. So same thing as a dad,
Mhm.
right? But for dads, it's normally like the pet, or it's normally like a car or something to do, with your hands or whatever. For moms, it's also something to do with their hands, but usually it's a little bit different. Like for my mom, when I was younger, it was like either taking photos,
Mm.
like everywhere. It's just like, we're at a mall. Come on, squeeze in with your sister. It's
Yeah.
like right by this fountain. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
like that. Or we went to Joann's Fabrics,
Yeah.
and we're
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
scrolling through fabrics for an hour for a stupid project that I have to do. And I don't even want to be there, but I know I have to.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, this one would be interesting. And you're
Yeah.
like, no, I'm
Like,
fine. She's
why
like,
are you
but what
excited?
about this one? Like, just
Yeah.
shit like that.
Mm.
And it honestly, I think it adds value to your life, dude. Like being that excited about something very whatever is down. Not a lot of people have that excitement, man.
As a
Cool.
kid, it can be irritating
Mhm.
just because you want it to be over and you want to do something else. But
Yeah.
the older you get, the more you realize you should have valued that,
Yeah.
because that helps you to be excited about the little things.
Yeah. But why
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't but you shouldn't go back to it. Just value it now. Just be like, yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Because you were like, I should have valued. You should never regret anything, dude. It's gonna
That's-
turn into
Well, I don't
That's
believe
not-
that
that's
actually.
a lecture.
Yeah, I'm also with Zayd on that. Yeah, you should.
I'm not of the mind that you should not regret anything in life because, I mean, you learn from your mistakes,
Yeah.
and you are inevitably going to have some form of regret for your mistakes. So that's why
Yeah.
I don't trust people who are like,
Well,
I don't have
No,
any
you're
regrets
misunderstanding what I'm
whatsoever."
saying. So it's fine to regret things, but then learn from it and move on. Some people stay in regret.
It's the lingering.
It's the lingering in regret.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see
why
that.
why linger in the past, dude? Relax and calm down and move forward.
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
people who are like, I live my life with no regrets, I highly doubt that.
You have many
I'm
regrets.
skeptical. Like, that's just
course.
not human behavior.
At all. Yeah.
Like,
It's just
At
sus.
all. That's not very stoic of you.
stoic.
Man, I wish I can grow a beard. It'd be cool.
I wish I could too. That would be
Yeah.
nice.
That would
It'll
be
suck
nice.
for you guys, huh?
Be stoic, dude. I want a statue after me. That's what I want.
Okay, all right,
Just like a-
Stalin,
like a
relax.
stoic
Jesus.
statue with shades on.
Whatever you say, Kim Jong Un.
Where would you have that statue?
It's actually ill.
Like sick nasty.
Like
No,
Illmatic?
Kim Jong Il.
Oh,
My bad
I'm
about
sorry.
the
Okay.
statues.
I'm like, I haven't heard ill in a while.
Sorry, I picked the wrong dictator.
Where would you put it?
Where would I put it?
This guy in his
Ooh,
backyard.
No,
ooh.
he would want it in the front yard so
Not
everybody
even,
could see
dude.
it, and then he'd have a fountain built around it.
No, I'm gonna have it floating in the middle of my high ceiling living room at the entrance of my door.
Floating?
Yeah, how are you gonna get it to float?
I don't know, but I will find someone to do it.
Like
Not
hang it.
floating, obviously hanging through like something that's transparent, but
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be quite
Just
a
picture
project
a
for you.
train-
I'm not
yeah.
sure if that's gonna
That
work.
is such a
Hey.
bizarre desire. I want
Could-
a
it could be a
sculpture of
hologram.
me.
Could be a hologram. We'll never know.
Could be a hologram.
This
This guy's gonna have the nuttiest house I've ever seen.
Bro, it's just gonna be like, welcome to my stoic vibrato of a place,
My stoic vibrato.
of a spot, homie.
What it even
Like
is?
I'm using so many different.
I'm trying to think of like
dialects.
literally what stoic vibrato would actually be.
Is vibrato even a word?
I'm just thinking
No,
of
Make that
vibrato.
shit
Yeah,
up.
vibrato is a real word.
just picture purple ferns, stoic statues with sunglasses on. So it has a hint of modern.
By the way, vibrato, at least in a musical sense, is when you like when you play guitar and you wiggle the string up and down and it changes the pitch slightly.
Mhm.
That's what vibrato is.
Mm,
Then there's something called tremolo, which I believe is just the changing of the volume.
mm.
So it's like, and then like vibrato is, if that makes any sense.
Why?
As stupid as that sounds, like
It does make sense, actually.
I could probably do it better on that guitar over.
Want to grab it over for you?
No, I don't.
No, we don't have time for that.
Yeah, Zayd's got too
Okay.
many important things to talk about.
Yeah.
Actually,
What is it?
I asked. I didn't expect to get many questions, but we did get two.
Oh, we did.
Shoot.
So I put this up this morning, and I was just like, for the
Yeah.
audience, if you have any questions,
Never
feel free to
know,
shoot
never
us
know.
some of them.
Yeah. What'd they say?
So we have Sean from Oklahoma.
Oh,
First question.
Hey, Oklahoma Sean.
It's quite an interesting question. He asks, how do we limit government without delegitimizing our nation as a central power? And I'm going to let you tackle that first.
Ooh,
Jesus.
ooh,
Wait, can
ooh.
you say the question one more time?
How do we limit government without delegitimizing our nation as a central power?
Do you mean central power in the sense of Sorry, do you mean central power in the sense of like the US being a global superpower, or do you mean centralized power in the sense of how we have our government structured today?
I assume he's talking about from the perspective of moving from centralization to decentralization, because I feel like he's opposed to that. Like there are a lot of problems that come from centralization. Which, like, my main idea
Centralization.
on it is like I think we should invest more into entrepreneurs who are able to privatize certain industries, make things more efficient, as opposed to just leaving everything to the government because they're wildly inefficient.
Yeah, but not a lot. Okay, like define which industries you're discussing then, like that you're
I
describing.
mean, there's a lot.
Are you
Like
talk like which ones are you referring to?
probably the energy sector. Um, what else?
Which area of the energy sector? Because a lot of it is privatized.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know a lot about these specific industries, so all I know is that the government is inefficient at doing their job, and
Well-
that's clearly evident.
That's true.
Wait. Government or government officials?
Government.
Government officials. Because here's the thing, if the government officials, were actually doing their job properly, you wouldn't have inefficiencies. That's the thing, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some of those factors that play into the inefficiencies or rather cause them to arise? I think one of the first ones is the not the privatization, but the what would be a good word to describe that? The economics of politics
Mhm.
have played or have detrimentally affected the effectiveness of our politicians themselves. So, for example, why is it that people like Nancy Pelosi have what is it, eight-figure net worths? She's been a politician for how long? 20 plus years,
Long time.
30 plus years, too long,
Yeah.
right? So something that I liked about George Washington, right, was that he had the foresight to understand that there needs to be limits for how long people can be in government positions, right? Because they just separated from a monarchy, which, had its own problems and it had kings that were in power for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
So he stepped down from being a president after 2 years because he realized that you need change, right? At least with every, I think it was 8 years or so, just so you can have new ideas come up, and then those new people that come in will have better ideas on how to adapt to the times,
Mm.
make better laws, treat the people better, so on and so forth, right? Now, that's great when it comes to presidents, and yes, there are term limits for certain members of Congress, but the problem is there aren't for some members of Congress, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're allowed to be in those government positions for far too long, and then even scarier, they're allowed to move up the ladder to other positions, right? Now, the whole idea of being a public servant, at least in the original context of like the Constitution, is you work for the people, right?
Yeah.
You are
Correct.
elected by the people to represent them, in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, in law, things of that nature, so you can help make their lives better. And in turn, what we did was we put these politicians in there, and now it's kind of a weird turnaround
Mhm.
where it's like we almost have to work with them or comply with whatever they're doing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the primary, or like a great instance of that would have to probably be Gavin Newsom in California, right?
Mhm.
Or you could also argue that Cuomo over New York has overstepped his boundaries. And in some instances, you could say that DeSantis in Florida has overstepped his boundaries as well, right?
Mhm.
And it's for a whole bunch of different reasons, whether it be tax reasons, whether it be things relating to the COVID outbreak. Like, for example, the what was it? Cuomo forcing old people to stay inside the old folks' homes and
Yeah.
said it was 100% safe, and he was basically the direct results of what was it, tens of thousands of old people dying in New York.
That was crazy.
Hasn't been prosecuted for that. Also, he's given death threats to multiple reporters. Hasn't been prosecuted for that. Like,
What?
It's insane. Yeah, it's
Insanity.
for real.
So like
it's
he's
insanity.
dodged like 5 bullets at this point, and it's just
He's probably dodged over his entire career
His entire career's more.
hundreds of bullets.
yeah.
And the fact that he's still allowed to be in that position is astonishing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of factors that play into that, and I don't need to get into it. But my point is, We put these people into power, right? Because we think they're going to do what they're supposed to. Listen to us and change the laws and regulations on how we think it would be best to govern our lives here, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they have special interests. So they're getting paid off by lobbyists. They're getting paid off by special interest groups, things of that nature. And now they're adjusting the law to be what they think is going to be right based off of how much money they're receiving, based off what these other people are receiving.
Mm.
So if you want to take a step towards effectively, making your government operate effectively, one, you have to completely abolish diminish lobbyists, right? 100%. That cannot exist in an adequate democracy, because then you have special interests coming into play,
Mhm.
and then your original purpose for being a public official is essentially worthless.
Yeah.
Now, question about lobbying: is all lobbying inherently corrupt?
No, that's the thing, right? Well, in my opinion, I would have to argue yes.
Most of it,
even
right
if it's
now
for
is.
good things, because the good people lobbyists, or the people who are lobbying for good things like greener deals, this and that, whatever, being more eco-friendly, they don't have enough money or nearly as much money as these other people, such as the NRA, tobacco companies, oil companies, food, what is it,
Big food.
the food, yeah, big food, big pharma, stuff like that. So it's like not even fair in that regard, right? So I would say yes, I think lobbying is inherently kind of a disgrace to democracy as a whole, just because of it's a company saying, "Oh, we think you should do this to help us," rather than the people, right? So that's just a big fundamental problem, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Secondly, corporations, right? Corporate tax rate just across the board is high. And a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but here's where the problem starts to arise. Smaller and mid-tier corporations are getting absolutely screwed in comparison to the large ones, which actually should be paying taxes, right? So you have smaller corporations which pay stupidly high rates. That fucks them over, and then essentially causes them to shut down after a period of time, and then allows these even bigger ones to grow into larger companies, which potentially could result in monopolies, which is why I think Amazon's trying to be diluted right now.
Yeah.
And I think Google's probably up next, if I had to venture a guess, that's going to be crazy when that happens.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Biden passed a whole bunch of legislation on that.
Yeah, I need to read into that. That would be interesting. But, so you could minimize corporate tax. You could either do a flat rate for all corporations, or what you could do is, depending on how much income they're generating, you have a staggered step, or stair step type of tax level. So the highest end corporations get taxed a good amount, but it's not highly unreasonable. It's not like they're getting 80% or 70, whatever some of these people are recommending. But then what the government should also do on top of that is institute incentives for these companies to do things, right? Like tax incentives, which some people are like, that's stupid, that's not going to get anything done. But here's the deal, right? You can conduct business in the US, that's fine, right? But if you cut your CO2 output, you install solar panels to make your buildings more green, more efficient, you pick up new manufacturing practices. If you manufacture in the US, right, instead of outsourcing, you
Mhm.
manufacture in the US, you can get
Oh, that'd
taxed.
make a huge change. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could benefit a whole bunch of people just aside from those corporations, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could always go down that route. I'm sure there's 100 economists out there that are telling me you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. You would destabilize the entire U.S. economy.
Yeah,
This and that.
that's
but
when we revert back to, in my opinion. There you go.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Sean, number one, get rid of lobbying in all forms. It doesn't do anybody any favors. Number two, you have to change corporate tax law. You can no longer allow the top Fortune 100 corporations in the U.S. to have negative effective tax
Mhm.
rates. That's asinine.
Mhm.
Number three, you have to provide those corporations incentives in order to operate fairly within the U.S. and also help out potentially the people down at the bottom, such as us, right? The bottom realm of society. And that could come in a whole bunch of different forms. And then number three, I should have probably mentioned this sooner on the list. You have to create term limits for all members of government that are acting as a representative for people,
Mm.
right? Because when you
Agreed.
have people working in those positions for too long, then they start to focus on, all right, how do I make the most money out of this? How do I better myself rather than the people I'm supposed to be representing?
And we get stuck with old ideas.
So you're right. It reverts back to George Washington. Change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Constant change.
You need new people, younger people with a fresh perspective who understand different cultures and stuff like that.
Like we can't have a 75 or 78-year-old member of Congress questioning Mark Zuckerberg on, the intricacies and details of Facebook.
Yeah.
That's just
Doesn't work.
Like leave
That's
bread
ridiculous.
out. Leave bread out for 75 years and see what happens.
what?
It rots.
No, I can see his point.
Oh,
I can see his point.
okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting like analogy, but I can see that.
Yeah.
Um,
Anything sits there for too long, it rots. You don't wash the dishes for a while, it fucking rots.
Yeah. But I agree 100%. You have anything to add?
Change. No, I honestly agree 100%. Lobbyists do no good. They do more damage, in my opinion. And
Sounds like you should be working in government.
yeah, it really does, dude.
Nobody wants me in government because the problem with my idea is, and like I've had to come to terms with this, is that I think Michael Malice actually put it perfectly when he was talking about how essentially the entire state of geopolitical perspective, it's like anarchy,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? I know that sounds crazy. Like obviously there's not rioting and looting in the streets everywhere on the planet, right? But it is in the sense of like countries still operate relatively independently of one another, like, and still can declare war on one another, still take over land, still send troops to other places, right? And in order to get, the globe operating on like a proper level, everybody would have to kind of not fall into line, but like agree with one another that ideas or concepts such as war are outdated, and that's not going to happen.
You have to
Yeah, right.
compromise.
Yeah, there has to be a global compromise because the thing that a lot of these people, or not a lot of these people, but like a lot of people in general don't realize, it's like you only got one rock as of right now,
Mhm.
and you're all standing on it. That might change in the next 20 to 30 years, but I mean, if nukes start flying everywhere, like, or if one country invades another, that could lead to a whole nother cascade of war and
Mm.
like all this other shit. And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like you're not solving anything by dropping trillions of dollars on R&D for the next jet
Yeah.
or the next bomb or the next this or the next that. Like it's just stupid. And
It's
I know
like-
I sound like a college kid, but it's like,
No, it's common sense. Like, why are we diverting all these resources to war instead of like helping
Yeah.
other?
That means you're expecting something to happen.
yeah.
I mean, which is, yeah, because then there wouldn't be no sense of urgency to make that happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's always one group of people is going to want to control the majority, or one group of people is just going to want to just take over everywhere else. And
Yeah.
like you said, everybody's worried about if somebody else does something, which is
Yeah.
which is hilarious to me. Like you could all just agree not to do anything
Because
and then
at-
work together.
At
like
this point, it's mutual destruction. With the level of technology, in terms of weaponry that we have, it's just mutual destruction.
It's who fires first. That's it.
I know.
Because both sides, they're insane. It's insane equipment, dude.
I know, and I just sound like a college kid. Like, yeah, man. Like
Yeah,
make
dude.
love, not war, man. Like I know I totally sound like that, but like it's kind of true.
Mhm.
Like it has validity to it. People are like, oh, you don't know how the world works. I'm like, no, I get it, and I understand my idea is never going to happen, just solely based on principle,
Yeah.
right? Like, and what I mean by principle is just like how human beings interact with one another.
Yeah.
We don't trust each other,
Yeah.
like because that's just how we roll. Like there's
Well-
nothing that we can do to change that as of
Mhm.
right now.
I feel like people always like when you give an opinion, they take it as like your way or the highway. So they get like hella offended.
No, it's
when
not
it's
that
like
at all.
really just I'm just sharing a point of view. That's all I'm doing. I'm not convincing you of anything.
Yeah.
And that's what, in my opinion, means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to just understand that.
But yeah, Sean, hopefully that answered your question.
Yep. Thank you for that. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great
It was a
one.
great question.
Last question comes from our boy Aus.
Oh,
And he asks,
what up, my boy?
At what
Yeah.
point do you know when to? I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
Yeah.
it's the general question.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you know when to quit your job and move on?
Ooh, great
Um,
question.
Now there
No.
are different philosophies on that. I
Mhm.
think
How
you
about-
have the extreme characters who would rather just quit immediately and force themselves to, put themselves against a wall so that they essentially have a gun to their head, so they have to make it work. Whether that's starting their own business, which I assume a lot of people want to do,
Not Zaid.
or there's the more, I guess, the safe approach or the more common sense approach where it's you work your normal job on the side and then you build up your business to a sustainable point while you're doing both of those things.
Yeah.
And then you understand, like, okay, I am building a certain amount of revenue from my side hustle, and now I can quit my job and move on to just focusing on this.
I think it really just relies on what it is you're trying to do, first of all.
Yeah.
Right. If you're in the medical field, good luck starting a new company.
Yeah, for real.
If you're an engineer, you can get by. Creatives, that's where you have full control, I believe.
Yeah.
Because then you have more chance of like standing out, right? There's no like book-based knowledge. It's just you formulate something to look like it's yours, right? That's the creative field. Engineers, you could do that as well, I believe. Like especially when it comes to maybe interiors
Mm-hmm.
or, just like different kinds of structures. A great Instagram page for that actually is called Proposals for All. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but they literally have like these sick, like it goes against gravity and physics, but the designs are great if they can find a way to make it work.
Oh, you're
it's
talking
like
about
kind of-
architectures.
Yeah,
then.
architecture
Yeah.
and just like structures, even like down to the foundation. Foundation would be like literally hung up by a tree on an edge of a cliff, so it looks like it's floating. That makes no sense.
Like
Obviously.
what is what was that phrase? It was, I think, the engineer's worst nightmare is an architect. Because they
Yeah,
the
yeah,
architect just likes to design shit that looks
Yeah.
cool, and then the
Yep.
engineer's like, this makes no sense.
what the hell?
yeah, pretty much. But what to take from that, I think honestly, it's just more finding where you feel comfortable. How much financial security do you need? And like what position are you in now? Like for example, you're probably in I don't know, most people just hate their jobs, right? They want to move on. They want to find something that they can call their own and generates hella income, right? That's ideal, right?
Sure. Yeah.
More time,
Mhm.
more money. That's what you want. But I would say as long as you're financially secure and you know that 100% not a day goes by knowing that you don't want to be there anymore. That's already one hint. Like
It's
you
got to
should
be the
get the hell out of
motivating
there.
factor. Yeah.
And it depends on, like I said, what it is you're trying to do. Are you trying to do something of your own, or are you trying to move on to another company, or I don't know, just work for someone else? Because if you're trying to work for someone else, I would truly line up something before I would move on.
Yeah.
But I also do believe in just like cut it off suddenly and see what happens in life.
Mhm.
Test
There's
yourself.
value to that.
Test
yeah.
yourself, because you will make things happen, dude. If you throw yourself into a rut, you're gonna want to climb out of it, and then in that sense, you will work harder, and it'll just be like a different kind of energy.
Yeah. And also the thing that I've learned over, like, since I write a lot, since we obviously have this podcast, like at the end of the day, if you want to do your own thing, you have to produce. And you have to produce every single day.
Mhm.
So regardless of how you feel, whether you're working a 9 to 5 and starting a thing on the side, like you just have to create more than you consume.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays with algorithms and social media, like you have to make sure people know who you are. You have to have a social media presence, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, yeah, it's just a game of patience.
I have a little bit of a different perspective from you guys,
Mhm.
That's
just
down.
slightly.
Okay.
So mine, it all airs from the side of you need to understand what your capabilities are, and you need to understand your finances,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? Because one of the worst situations you can find yourself in, and especially at a young age, is putting yourself in a position of debt. Now, when you're young, you're more likely to accrue debt than you would be if you were older, just for,
Mhm.
a whole bunch of different reasons. Like you don't understand how to make rational purchases. You're more likely to just get involved in stupid shit. Like for the most recent one is like people just getting involved in retail investing on stuff like Robinhood, and they have no idea what they're doing, or stuff like crypto, and they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you might accrue debt, but
Not just debt, massive debt.
yeah, like serious
Yeah.
debt. And you need to understand, like, okay, where am I at right now? what am I capable of doing? Is it a realistic goal for me to like take off and invest into whatever it is, this creative venture, this I don't know what it is exactly what the guest was asking about, like what their strong suit would be, but I'm assuming let's just assume it's something creative
Mhm.
for this
Mhm.
instance, right? So let's also hypothetically say where's this guy working at? Where he's ready to quit his day job.
Engineering firm for some company that does.
If he's an engineer, he's probably making a decent amount of money.
No, for sure.
So let's say something like a bank teller.
a bank teller, okay, you make
Where it's like,
$17 an hour.
It's not like,
Yeah.
you know, bottom of the barrel in terms of jobs because you
Mhm.
get paid a decent amount, but it's enough for you to want to, you know, run your head against a cheese grater at the end of the day,
Yeah.
dealing with people. So he's creative, and let's say that he's a graphic designer,
Yeah.
Mhm.
hypothetically speaking, right? So he's a graphic designer / bank teller, and he wants to quit full time to do graphic design.
Yeah.
So you're making money at your bank telling job, and you think graphic design can pay the bills, yet you have no social media platform, most likely, to get started. You have nothing to prove,
Mhm.
you know, that you're able to do this job,
Mhm.
right? You probably don't have a resume at this point that's built up for graphic design. You probably have one that's built up for bank telling and, you know,
Yeah.
working at a bank and stuff like that.
Using purely words.
So,
Yeah.
where do you go from there, right? There's a couple different avenues, right? You could start a YouTube channel. You could start putting all of your graphic designs up there, maybe do tutorials if you want to go down that route. You could just be a straight up artist where you publish shit to a whole bunch of different platforms, maybe try to sell it, maybe turn it into a what's it called? Those an NFT, you know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
try to
An
make some
auction?
money off
Yeah.
of that. And then, or I don't know, maybe you can go work for a company and do graphic design for them, right? There's different tiers, right? So if you want to quit your job as a bank teller to go work for another company in graphic design,
Mhm.
and you actually have the chops to do that and the capabilities, go for it. I don't see why not. And especially if you can keep paying off your, you know, your home loan or
Yeah.
whatever, if you can pay for rent or if you can pay for your car, your phone and stuff like that, why not? Go try it. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to being a bank teller or probably get a higher position at the bank. you
Yeah,
know?
that's the thing. You can always get another job.
Exactly.
And also, when you're young, you have to. This is the time to take risk, because as you get older, you start to accrue more and more responsibility,
Yeah.
and some of that responsibility you can't come back from.
And that's a small risk.
But
Relatively
There's
small
going to be
risk.
bigger risks.
I want to emphasize this, right? And this is something that actually annoys the shit out of me. That a lot of the people you watch
Ooh.
say when the people you watch say, "Be a broke 20-year-old, go out and take risks, accrue debt, deal with this, do that." I hate that shit because you can actually, like, the majority of Americans have the ability to put themselves in the $500,000 to $1 million range by the time they're in their late 30s to 40s if they start investing when they're 18 years old.
Sure, 100%.
And it's not even crazy investments. Like, it's just like money that's slightly like just gaining interest over those years.
I wouldn't say be broke though. They're using wrong words. I would say frugal.
But also,
Frugal is different.
Frugal's different.
But frugal is
because
completely different than broke.
You're just financially smart at that point. That's
yeah,
it. That's all that means.
Mhm.
Exactly.
and they're different personalities. Like, some people are not. They don't want to do that. Some people don't want to go that slow and steady.
Yeah.
They just want to go full on, balls to the wall. Let me put myself in a position where I am forced to figure it out. Because I think if you have the right personality, you have the right mindset, then you can do it.
I just
Like,
think,
some people would think, let's say, getting a $5,000 a month apartment. That's ridiculous for a lot of people.
that's just stupid.
It's stupid, but some people, granted they're the exception, can make it work.
Okay, so you're giving advice for the exception for the mass, and that's where I have a problem.
No, I'm just saying there's different personalities.
No, I'm aware of that, but the people you watch, I don't know any of their names, but like they say advice for the exception,
No,
and then they
no.
always talk about the exception, and
It's-
then they
no.
preach it to the
It's
masses.
not for the masses.
Listen.
So here, I was actually thinking about this week about these speakers, and specifically like some things they say just don't make sense because it doesn't cater to everybody. They target a specific audience. And it's up to the listener to decide what leader you want to follow. This has been seen everywhere, even throughout religion. There's always going to be some scholar of some sort that disagrees with another scholar, and they're going to be like, well, I like cigarettes, so I'm going to go with the guy that says they're fine. So like, there's that, like, speakers like that, they're always going to speak so much, right? and they're gonna F up somewhere because it doesn't cater to the mass of humanity. It caters to a specific audience that is uncomfortable in their shell, trying to seek this specific video.
And I'll say this, anybody who tells you to be broke, I disagree with. And I don't even, here's the thing, when they're like, oh, well, the thing is you pay for experience, you pay for this, you pay for that. You can do all of that shit while still making money.
No, but
That's why I disagree with them, because
I
they're
don't know who
telling you
you're
to be broke,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is the worst advice. they
it's-
I
can
don't
give
know
you.
who you're referring
Yeah.
to because I've never
so
listened
many
to them.
dudes that
Yeah.
I've watched
Never
or that
listened-
I've listened in on while you
Yeah.
have them on the computer.
They have
Like,
never
yeah.
said be broke.
yes, they have.
No, they haven't.
To be fair, it's because most of them were broke. So they feel that they learned their most hardship lesson. Like, for example, a lot of people didn't have to lose someone to go through whatever they did. Some people just had to be broke, right?
Yeah.
Scraping pennies just to
Most people need to
live
learn
on
the
a
hard
mattress,
way.
you know?
And what I'm saying is
So
like
I can kind of see it. I don't know. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. to
I
the-
listen to a lot of people with the understanding that they are not perfect. I'm just trying to notice what their mentality is. Because if they're in a certain spot and they've had success with it, maybe I can implement that into my own life.
Take what works. Here's the thing. People listen too much as if everything is absolutely correct 24/7.
It's not. It's
Yeah,
nuanced.
That's
dude.
the
It's like,
thing.
If you need
That's
to know
my
how
point.
to, yeah.
Most people aren't taking the nuances of it.
That's
Yeah.
their fucking problem, not mine.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
but-
also the guy that's preaching it. Like,
You
you
know
could
what?
argue that that's debatably his fault as well.
Episode 100, we're going to have a nuanced debate. But
It's like it's not my responsibility to make sure that you are intelligent enough
yeah.
to decipher this nuance from this and make sure that you come to a valid
Yeah, or
conclusion.
maybe about this, instead of being nuanced, just say it.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to be like Mr. fucking, oh, I got this big personality, I'm this and that, I'm blah, blah, blah. And then
Yeah.
like, oh, you didn't get the tiny message that I didn't even say, but you were supposed to insinuate? That's insanity.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause they're different-
crazy.
Well, that's the thing.
That's
It's no matter what, no matter how high up you are, okay, you can always work on yourself. And a lot of these people just need to work on how they word things, how they bring out the message.
Yeah, I agree.
it.
But the thing is, they say all this
Like when-
extreme
yeah.
shit, and then when you call them out on it, they're like, you didn't even listen to
Well-
what I said. And then you cite them, and they're like, but you didn't
Yeah,
understand.
but we don't know it's
You're like, what the
extreme.
fuck is
We
that?
don't know it's extreme because it could just be like misunderstood. You know what I mean? Like I could take it
No,
as
that's
extreme.
my point.
Yeah.
No, he's saying it's misunderstood. But the point is, it's like, you said exactly this, right?
Exactly.
Most people are going to take you for exactly what you say,
Yeah.
right?
So, like, for example, I've heard broke a million times, by the way, but when someone says, yeah, you got to live broke, I don't immediately think I got to live broke. I have to think like a broke person so I could put myself in the shoes while making money so I
Mhm.
could be financially smarter. That's it.
Yeah.
Now,
I broke that down.
let me say this, right? Because I just thought of a contradiction.
Yes.
At least from my point of view, right? I just said that people will take exactly what those people say at face value, right?
Yes.
What about comedy, right? Because there's a huge debate in comedy where it's like, oh, you should think about what the comedian means in context.
That's a
right?
big one.
Or better yet, it's the context of the joke. Like, were you listening to what they said before, or did you just read the one line where they got upset, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, I thought about that, and then I was like, you know what? That's kind of stupid because comedy is comedy, right? They're just joking.
Yeah.
But these business people are trying to tell you how to live your life or give you advice on how to live your life, which is potentially damaging for the majority of people
Yeah.
who listen.
I mean, that if you're going to be a character on social media, that's obviously you want to make sure that you are able to deliver your message in the best way possible so that the most
Yeah.
people can gain value from it.
And back it up. Like either talk about your experiences or talk about what you have studied or things like that, right? You can't just say things. And the thing is, it goes both ways. It goes to the listeners too, okay? If you're a listener, you got to be careful what you listen to. You can't take everything literally
Yeah.
as true and factual. That's a huge problem, dude. And that's why we live in the most like debatable times.
Mhm.
Like everything down to hangouts, man. Like we hang out, there's a debate every single time.
Which is healthy.
Yeah.
Like
It's healthy.
No, that I agree with Zaid. That is healthy.
it's healthy, but sometimes it's not healthy when it's about stupid little mundane things like who has the best donuts. Really?
No, that's
We're gonna have a
just dumb.
2-hour debate and waste all of this hangout time that we specifically had.
That's dumb. Yeah.
No, I just think that when people are like, you should you should be broke in your 20s.
Yeah.
In order to gain life experience. I just disagree with that because you can get life experience while making money.
I
That's
agree.
my bottom line.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. That's
so
very
like a lot of those
stupid.
dudes where it's like you learn more by being like by having less money and figuring it out. I just don't believe that, and I think that mentality is toxic as shit.
Yeah, or do it and do whatever you want.
Yeah, because here's the thing: if
Yeah.
they're telling you to be broke, why don't you just take their lessons and apply that while you're making money?
yeah,
The thing that's causing confusion here, or at least why we're kind of skirting around the issue, is I don't know who specifically you're mentioning.
I wish I
listen
knew
to.
their name. I know all of their faces. I remember every
Yeah.
one of them that you watched,
God,
like what
dude,
they look like. I
hope
just
to
don't know
God.
their names.
It's not Ty Lopez, is it?
No.
Oh, thank
Ty
God,
Ty
bro.
Lopez actually. I'm sorry. Before can I
Yeah.
can I
go
say
ahead.
this before you make your point? No, it's just he's one of my favorite examples. Like he got called out so bad once on a I think it was like a Skype interview type of thing, or not interview, but he was taking like Q&A from guests.
Yeah.
And this guest actually, or sorry, from not a guest, a fan, and the fan was asking him like very basic real estate questions.
Mhm.
Like very generic, and I wish I could remember what they were off the top of my head. And Ty Lopez like could not answer them because he doesn't understand real estate.
Ah,
He's a fraud. Like
Yeah.
he has other people do all of his shit for him. And he was like, well, technically, man, like you can't get mad at me because I don't teach the real estate courses. What I do is I get knowledge from the best industry professionals and then I disperse it to the masses. But the key word is he said, I don't teach.
yeah.
And this guy's like, you're a fraud. You do. I've watched it. I paid like however many hundreds of dollars for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then they showed a clip from his lecture and it's him teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I have an issue where he says, "I collect knowledge." No, you collect information, motherfucker. Like,
But here's the
And it's
thing I
shitty
wanted-
information if you've seen the.
that's why
No,
it's
no,
not knowledge.
Here's the thing I wanted to mention. I went through a Ty Lopez phase. Okay, I was like 17, 18.
Sounds about right.
I bought one of his courses, one of his programs.
Don't
was-
tell me you clicked on the ad.
Hmm?
You clicked on the ad, or did you specifically search for Ty Lopez?
No, like I was watching a lot of his videos. I
Yeah.
was deep into it. Like to label somebody as a fraud, okay, I can get that. At the same time, the course that I purchased had a lot of value in it. And what he was essentially doing is from all the books he's read, he's compiling a list of ideas that already exist, but that most people don't know about. So it's like everybody has something valuable to offer, although they might take, a very interesting approach to it.
So here's the real question. Since there's so much value to be found in that lecture,
Like I learned a lot at that time of my life.
like
From
what
him.
what was he teaching is my question.
A lot of stuff about Socrates, a lot of stuff about business, just basic business stuff, things of that nature.
Like what? If you remember.
You can get
If you don't, that's
into-
fine.
I mean, it's very vague, but it's just mainly personal development ideas.
So shit you probably could have learned for free if you just Googled it.
Yeah, but
that seems-
how many people have like Naval Ravikant? He's an angel investor. He's also a philosopher. He talks about how the ability to like information is everywhere. That is not scarce. The drive of being curious, the ability to want to learn, is this real scarce thing in modernity.
That's true, but I think also as the person who's seeking the information, you need to realize if somebody's just, passing off bullshit as, AAA stock.
But it's not all bullshit. A lot of these things were also from his experience.
No, and I'm not saying everything he's teaching is bullshit. I just think the majority of the package as a whole is horseshit. So therefore, you could move on and find another package or another piece of information online for free that gives you exactly the same experience.
Because
Sure.
I sure do hate courses. Like I've purchased 3 courses in my lifetime, but that's not considering school, obviously.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has the same kind of layout. You end up wasting your money because what it is that there's one section that's valuable and the rest of it's BS.
Well,
That's what it feels like.
That's
the thing is,
Yeah.
like, for example, the corner of Twitter I'm on, I've seen a lot of people who are able to build a skill set, build a course, and then help transform people's lives from it.
Yeah, and see,
Well,
that's
a lot of
that's where
different
you come
people.
in.
That's
where you come in.
different. What I'm saying is, I think a lot of these people, like the Ty Lopez, or I'm specifically talking about the business-oriented people.
Yeah.
I think the overwhelming majority of them are fraudulent, and not
Sure.
fraud like they're breaking the law. What they're not doing is illegal. They're selling snake oil, which there's nothing technically illegal with that unless they're killing people. Which
Yeah.
I don't think they are.
The biggest fraud that had me rolling on the floor laughing was, what's up, Bitcoin? Have
What?
you seen that?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
What
Do you
is
guys
that?
mind if I pull it up for you real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Who is that?
Oh my God, the biggest scam of all time. They all got arrested, I believe. Actually, the main guy got arrested.
I think one of the bigger scams of our generation is Wall Street bets.
Oh, you'll see right now. Watch.
And the reason why it was literally just one guy who was like, he used mass manipulation to make everybody believe they were going to take on these hedge funds, say, fuck you, we're gonna raise GameStop and AMC stock. Oh, I've seen this guy.
You have to put this in the video.
Hey.
All right, we got.
So
the
yeah,
gist
what
of
is
that.
what does that guy do? Is he a Bitcoin thing?
So they made a coin called BitConnect or whatever,
Oh.
and it was just like basically a
pump
giant
and dump?
fund.
No, you know what? That's actually a big thing to talk about right now. Is all of the YouTubers making fake ass coins? Like, did you hear about Logan Paul's?
Yeah.
What is it?
It was called like
Dink Donk or
I don't know.
A couple members of the face
I thought it
clan
was just called Maverick.
got axed because of that.
what do you
They
mean?
were involved in a pump and dump scheme.
Yeah, of course.
What the hell's a pump and dump scheme?
That's where they make a coin. They tell everybody, we found this new coin. It's gonna go up, and then
Yeah.
they get all of their like middle school age fans to invest into it, and then they
Ah.
drive it up, and then they
collect
drop
their
out.
own money, and then that's it, and they all lost. They
They-
basically give
Mhm.
them their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
it's a way to steal your fans' money directly with no legal ramifications as of right
How-
now.
So
Just social.
here's my broad point. It's like have the ability to listen to a lot of different people. Okay, don't necessarily label them. Just find whatever is valuable from their perspective and just take that and try to apply to your own life.
Well-
That's the essence of what I try to do.
Yeah, and I get that, but when it comes to people like Ty Lopez, it's like, why listen to them when you could listen to Warren Buffett, who's actually a ridiculous success and understands finance probably better than anybody else on the planet, at least
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about Ty
listen,
Lopez.
listen.
You have so many people to choose from. It's on the person to
Yeah.
differentiate.
I got you. Okay. So I've said this before, but the more you dive into the roots of things, that's where you should start. Because it builds, that's like the foundation of humanity or whatever you want to
First
call
principles, yeah.
it. Yes, you start with that. And then as you grow, you see, okay, into modern day, who stands correct?
like,
And then there you go. You have your butt buddy right there.
let me,
And it's
let
not
me,
Ty Lopez because that does not tie into this conversation.
let me ask you a question. Why would you pay $150 for Ty Lopez's business course, right? Which probably won't teach you that much, when you could spend the same amount of money on an actual either textbook or specialized book, which isn't really a textbook, but it's like made by a professional within the industry who already knows exactly how the industry operates, and then he gives you all the formulas and like the actual math and how to do this, and that. Like, why would you buy Ty Lopez's thing versus buying the book that actually teaches you all of the fundamentals of the industry you're trying to be involved in?
The person has the option to.
I'm aware of that, but my question is why?
Because I mean, if Ty Lopez is good at anything, it's marketing.
Yeah, that's his strong suit.
Which
I
is
will not
why,
deny that.
Which is why a lot of people are resonating with his message.
Which I was going to say, if he should teach any course, it should be how to do marketing.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he has
How to
something
sell-
like
how
that.
to
He
sell
probably
fraud.
does. How to sell fraud, the American dream.
The American dream.
At the end of the day, we're here for money. That's all.
But also, like at the end of the day, direct experience is king.
Yeah.
So take an idea from somebody and try to implement it into your life. See if it works. If it does, keep doing it. If it doesn't, axe it.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Hope that answers your question, Alice.
Damn it, I was just about to say that.
Like a fucking 25-minute answer.
God damn. Well,
Sheesh.
that got us talking. But anyway, let's go back to BitConnect real quick. All right.
Okay.
There's gonna be a lot of that happening, dude, in the coming days.
There's
And
a lot of
I'm
it
glad that
happening
like
now.
us three at least, we're smart enough to identify like what's happening. Pump and dump. All right, cool. Nope, not for me. You know? And it's kind of sad, dude. It's kind of sad because I am now diving into the world of like social media and all this stuff. And I want to be like considered side by side with these like other fellow YouTubers and things like that. And if I know like that whole community is just kind of doing things for purely money, purely taking advantage of little kids, not in obviously like with parents.
we know what you mean. We know what you mean.
Things like that. I gotta have to clarify these days. You know what I'm saying?
Of
But
course.
Anyway, yeah,
It goes
It's
back
just-
to
it's
what
kinda-
Oliver said.
yeah.
By the way,
Was-
check out episode 98.
Yeah,
98.
do that.
You're
That was a
gonna love
great
that
episode. It was so much fun.
But he made a good point. He's like, it comes down to who has longevity, who has been around for a long time and is able to show their work, show
Mhm.
that their results essentially.
Yeah, they're not scared of being copied. They're not scared of being this, that, because they know how valuable they are.
Yeah.
Considering their timeline. Too.
Mhm.
Because along the timeline, you'll see it a lot. Like when people start out, like it's always heartfelt and nice, and it's just very cringy and just, it's whatever. And then their skills get better, their quality gets better, and boom, suddenly they're just like, it feels like there's that like 15K subscriber, and then suddenly 1 million. That's just
Yeah.
how it always transitioned, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get there, then you start seeing like maybe I would say 2 years later, while they're successful, they just like during their timeline, they just start becoming a fraud. And you're like, why, man? Like you kind of made it, and now you're just a terrible person.
Or at least ego takes over and then makes
Yeah.
the decisions.
I'm gonna go to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah,
Have
go for
fun.
it.
Kind of been shaking over here in my seat for like
Oh no,
20 minutes.
you're chilling, dude. But yeah, you get me. Like it's kind of
Like the higher you go in any, or the more success you achieve, you have to make sure that you're more grounded.
yeah. 100% makes sense.
Which
And-
yeah,
Yeah, we got to work on our timelines. Never forget who you are either. That's a lot. That has a huge thing.
100%. Yeah, so
can
I was hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, I hope that did answer your question. That was an insane answer. I could keep going too. That's just crazy. But
But we can end it here. With the
Did you wanna
hour
end it here?
mark.
all right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us once again. You know where to find us. We are on YouTube at the 2 a.m. podcast. We have a 2 a.m. clips channel as well on the side for y'all that don't want to watch the hour-long episodes. We're on all major platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Libsyn, and much, much more. So yeah, check us out. We have a special episode coming out for the big 100.
Big
The
hundo.
big hundo
It's
is
gonna be a good
coming
one.
up. And yeah, it's exciting, guys. We're going to try to look fresh for y'all. We appreciate y'all, and thank you for joining. Peace.